Hi folks, it's 9 o'clock at night on Sunday the 9th of March 2013. I've just been outside and I've been looking up at the sky and I can see very clearly, we've got clear skies in England tonight, and I can see very clearly overhead both the moon and Jupiter. And it's quite pretty because you can see now the moon is about 6 degrees away from Jupiter and it's getting closer by the minute. And over the coming 24 hours, the moon will pass over Jupiter and it's going to be conjunct Jupiter for the next 24 hours. So it's generally seen as a good time for a lot of different people, or at least it would be if the aspect were taken on its own. Firstly, if you've been looking at Jupiter over the last few months, you'll see that it's in a very long, elongated triangle with two fixed stars, those of Pollux and Castor, the stars that make up the constellation, or the obvious stars in the constellation of Gemini. And there's been this finger of fate up there in the heavens between Jupiter in Cancer, Jupiter the ruler of Sagittarius, and Pollux and Castor, the twins of Gemini, the duality of Gemini. And a finger of fate is never the easiest of aspects. It brings a kind of an issue that cannot be left aside. It has to be resolved. It's like a permanent itch you can't scratch, and it must be sorted during the immediate period. And now the moon is coming up to Jupiter in the coming 24 hours. And of course, Jupiter isn't only in a finger of fate in its search for truth and direction and commitment, fighting off the effects of Gemini, Pollux and Castor, bringing the dichotomy and duality of life. It isn't only facing off between the Sagittarian and Geminian principles. Jupiter, of course, is also exactly opposite Pluto and square Uranus in the T-square. That's the sort of background for the Grand Cross that's still about 5 or 6 weeks away. But this is definitely a major rumble in preparation for it. And as the moon passes over Jupiter in the next 24 hours, I've got pretty strong ideas, feelings, premonitions that the world's going to be a very different place in 24 hours' time. Whether that pertains to developments in the Crimea, in Malaysia, or wherever. But I do suspect that there's going to be some quite interesting developments in the next 24 hours that could border on the farcical, if it weren't so damn serious. I don't want to say too much because I'll get myself into trouble, but I do feel that there could be something quite radical developing in the coming 24 hours, borderline explosive. And I don't think I mean in an explosive way that talks of bombs and big bangs, okay? I think it's explosive in a way that's much more revelatory. Bear in mind that what's going on is not so much a smokescreen. Certainly there's levels of orchestration in every level of human life. Whether that orchestration is done by humans, groups, or by the larger gestalt of the people. If it's the latter, which I'm growing more and more to suspect as I get less and less involved in conspiracy theory as I get older, it seems clear to me that the compression of population, the intensity and compression of psychic space is pushing us ever faster helter-skelter into an enhanced perceptive field with a need for a redefinition of what it means to be human and how we want to be governed and how we live our lives is becoming urgently needed. And it does seem that the coming couple of months are going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back in a number of areas pertaining to the ending of old patterns of behaviour. Because with many, as with everything, folks, the new isn't going to come in if it's got to negotiate old baggage. Just as an example, if someone in a new government is someone who ordered snipers to fire indiscriminately into crowds, then that new government isn't going to be trusted. You've got to root out the old before the new can come in. Then the new can come in clean and clear. One way or another, a lot of situations that have been festering under for many years are coming to a head. And I don't just mean political, I mean economic, financial, militarily. Well, we're in Grand Cross time now. Mercury's shadow is still ongoing and will be for about another 10 days. Mercury itself is square Saturn in the sky for the next 48 hours. Cross your fingers and sort of keep your thoughts clear for the next few days, folks. Where we are now, the next 48 hours. Crazy times out there. Keep clean. Catch you later.